Welcome to the Julie Laughton Living Podcast, the place to get advice, tips, and tricks to building the life and luxury home of your dreams with 30-year business owner, designer, and builder, Julie Laughton. It all starts with a good plan. This is Julie Laughton Living.
Welcome back to the Julie Laughton Podcast. Today we're going to talk about the easiest way to get into construction and why you should. And before we start, don't forget to check out my 7 simple steps that'll tell you about all the things you need to know about conception to completion, how it works, how this process works, what you're in for if you're going to do a remodel or build a custom home. It's very helpful. You can share it with your friends. Just a good heads up and a good guidance for everyone who's owns a home or is thinking of building one. Okay, so you know the construction industry is something like $9.7 billion. And if you think about it, I mean, really think about it. We all live in homes. We all work in buildings. The infrastructure and the buildings need to be maintained. The infrastructure and the buildings need to be built. So humans need shelter. Think about it that way. The construction industry is a huge business and there's room for everyone. And I'm talking about women and young men to get into construction, because I think people forgot about going into construction as a trade because everybody got so busy thinking, I got to go to college and I got to be a doctor or a lawyer. I got to do something in the tech business. Well, great. But what about trades? I mean, it's the good guys, the experts, the ones that built America are aging out. You know, I work with men that are 60 and 72 years old. Those guys are good. And I work with guys that have been in the union. I mean, that's their life. But the new people, and especially women, I don't know. It's like the young kids, they don't think about it because they think they need this whole, I don't know, I'm not going to say it, but desk job. And they sit in front of the computer all day. Oh my God, that's not life. Get out in the dirt and do it, man. Because building something it's rewarding. Running a crew is rewarding. I mean, you can just be one of the crew. It's rewarding to go out and do something and accomplish something with your hands. And I'm telling you, building something is rewarding. So that's another benefit. But the point is, get into a trade school, learn to be a carpenter, learn to be a framer, learn to be a welder. I'm talking about women and men, young, but women especially. Why aren't you looking at construction? You make a lot more money than the average person sitting behind a desk when you're doing something with your hands and you're running around in the construction world, because running around in the construction world means you could be a laborer, you could be a craftsman, you could be a project manager. And again, like I always say, construction is architecture, engineering, project management, and trades. There's a wealth of job opportunities in all the careers to get you into actual construction. So, and then there's interior design. Don't forget the interior designers. But there's 7 places you could put yourself in. But if it's just construction, think about project management. But it's so rewarding. I'm 62. My God, where's all the rest of the women? Why aren't they doing what I'm doing? You know, what stopped you? Because I know everybody wanted to do it, but I became a contractor 20-some years ago. It's a no-brainer. But I don't know what stops people, because it shouldn't be fear, because we do project management better than anybody. But anyway, the point is, get out there and do it. Don't be intimidated by the fact that it's a man's world. That's old school, because it really was a man's world in the beginning, because, labor, it was men. I'm talking the turn of the century and the beginning of construction, but then, look at during the war, Rosie Rivet, it started then. Women were in the field then. So keep it going. Get in construction. Get out there and do it. You young people, look at trade schools and look at construction. You can make a grip as a plumber or a welder. I mean, geez, just trades. But project management's wonderful too. You can make $250,000 a year as a project manager. Okay. So there. Well, the women in the construction field, because the women in my construction currently are in project management and the bill pay and behind the scenes to keep things moving, because they're working with me, I'm kind of a dynamo and I like to go fast, but I know my business and I know the ins and outs. So I have women around me that have the same organizational skills as me, for example, and the project managers too. They're like pile drivers. They get stuff done. I mean, I call the lady that collects the money from me as my pit bull. Okay, what are you going to that's her job. Where's my fucking money? I just did your job. I'm sorry, but you pay me. That's the contract. You got 5 days. You're going into breach of contract. I'm not fucking around. We that's a lot of money to run a construction company. My overhead's $250,000 a month, people. It's a lot of pressure. So we need performance, and clients are not the ones that are supposed to be organized. They're just supposed to pay. We keep them organized by reminding them and updating them. And we have daily updates. The point is, there's a whole process of getting the client updated, secure, confident. And that involves like 7 people around me. It's not just me. I used to do it by myself. But anyway, the client gets updated. It's a professional service, but most of the people doing it around me are women. And then in the field, I have one girl that helps me schedule everyone, because again, I was doing it every day of, my texting, oh my God, constant running the job. But I have a backup that helps me, because the amount of time it takes to manage, oh my God, because you got to call somebody. When are you going to be there? When are you going to be done? Do you know your scope of work? And you got to go through that like 3 times with every sub, and sometimes twice a day. But it's a process, because the management, it's huge. But like I said, I have more help, and most of those, it's half women and half men in the project management right now. But I do have a girl that I met that's a framer, and she is going through her union training. And I told her when she's done, bring her in, because wow, a female framer, young, she's not 40 yet, what a career, she could have, high-end custom residential. So I'm looking for women opportunities for hiring, because last year, well, actually a few months ago, I hired a 72-year-old framer, because we can't find good, framers and carpenters. It's hard. There's big crews, but they're, like production framing. So framing and finished carpentry, it'd be cool to see more women in it, for example. So I'm always looking out for the women in the trades. So like if you're going to be taking your career serious, and you actually went through the union training and you went through all the levels, oh my God, you're going to be trained and solid. By the time you're done, you could work anywhere. So, but the best thing is, you got to apprentice before you become skilled. So you start in the beginning and you learn from the people around you. And that, combined with all the safety training and all the other things that happens automatically in construction, because we do safety training every month, but there's a weekly checkup on our safety. So between that and performance is a skill, because the bottom line in construction is that your skill level is really based on the amount of time you spent doing it. I mean, it takes years to become skilled, and it takes years to know how to run a company. Like in the first few years, you're green. You need 4 to 7 years, to get your really confidence in your project management. So, I mean, you could get it after a year or 2, but it's seasoned, is then you make more money, because construction is about learning, and it's based on your time spent, doing it. It's fascinating. So I've been in it 35 years. There's nothing I need to know, but there's something new I learn every day. And it usually has to do with dealing with individual personalities and communication and making that team work, because everybody has different skill levels and everybody learns and listens differently. So that's a constant battle. But when you have a good standard operating procedure and a checkbook, and everybody has a list, this is what I'm doing today and this is how it goes, because I always kind of brag about my little checklist. I have a checklist because it's 562 steps to get through your remodel. I have it detailed, seriously. And that's why I have my 7 steps that outlines it, but it's actually 562 steps. But the client ends up making 1,000 decisions with this. So if you listed them, it's about 1,000. So it's kind of fun, but I have it detailed out because I'm one of those people. But in my SOP is very clear, and I demand people follow the order and stay on schedule and stay on budget. So that's how it works. The magic is planning, pre-planning, having a direction, and having rules. So anyway, did I get sidetracked? Just kidding. The easiest way to get into construction is get out there and do it. Get a job. If you're scared, who cares? They're going to train you. Who cares? Show up. That's the old rule. Show up, but go out and try it. Hey, if you don't like it, you'll find out in a month, and don't be scared if you, my new friend, she's a framer, and she's in the union with the men, and she said they sent her to a job once and they freaking disrespected her and said, "Oh, just give her the vacuum." And I would have said, "Fuck off, buddy. I'm here to learn. You put me to work and get me a spot." But no, but it was 7 guys against her. And she's kind of petite, but my reaction would have been completely different. But then I'm older now, so I don't know what I would have done back then, but she's in carpentry. So she's got to deal with, men's egos, and she's going up the ladder really fast. So the point is, get out there and do it. Don't take any shit from anybody. Know who you are and know what your skills are, and believe in yourself first, and fuck what everybody else says. And I usually don't swear this much, but kills me that not more women are in this business, because don't be afraid. We got a lot going for us. And it's that intimidation thing doesn't work for me, because the skill shows when you do it. So you can't prove yourself unless you get out in the dirt and do it. And don't forget to check out my 7 simple steps. It'll give you a highlight of what to expect when you do your remodel, or you can tell your friends about it, because everybody needs to know what's up, what's going to happen. Because my first question I get every time someone calls me, how does this work? How much will it cost? What can I expect? And so nobody knows, because if you haven't done it. So check it out, share it with your friends. Well, thank you for joining me for another episode, and I'll see you next week on the Julie Laughton Podcast.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Julie Laughton Living. For more information or to connect with Julie one-on-one, visit julielaughtonliving.com. And don't forget, it all starts with a good plan.